Hey guys, Rob from Night Solutions Canada. Here with a quick tutorial video of sorts. We just got in our shipment of our gear skins for our NVG-ALPHA housing. Now we get a ton of questions around these wraps because they are basically geometric shapes that you stick onto your housing in the correct spot. So people always ask, where do I stick them? How do I stick them there? All that fun stuff. So we'll do sort of a paint by numbers, show you where all these shapes go that coordinate with the shapes on the housing itself, show you it all wrapped and finished so you guys can have an easier time when you pick these up and put them on your own housing. So with that being said, let's just jump into it. All right, guys, so here's all the pieces laid out for our gear skins, again, for the NVG-ALPHA housing here. As you can see, some of these pieces are going to be very obvious when you line them up to the NVG-ALPHA housing, but also, as you can see, there's some complicated pieces in here. That's why we wanted to do this little tutorial. Again, people ask us questions on some of these things in order to adhere to the NVG-ALPHA housing correctly. So give me a second here. I'm going to approximately lay them out around the NVG-ALPHA housing just so you kind of see how these things get divided and approximately where they'll go. And then within that too, we'll actually start sticking them on the NVG-ALPHA housing so you can follow along with us. Now to cover something first and foremost, I said that these are obviously 3M adhesive backed. Now the question might come from some of our customers, well, if it's sort of gluey on the back and I take them off, is it gonna mess up my housing? Well, I've left some wrap that was previously on this NVG-ALPHA housing, and I'm actually gonna remove this and show you what it looks like afterwards. On plastic parts, just as a huge heads up, it will leave some residue, but that residue is brutally simple to get rid of. You just rub it off. So I'll show you an example of that right now. So as you can see, I'm in the middle of taking off this tiger stripe piece of the wrap from the battery compartment. And because that's a plastic part, you'll see some of the adhesive comes off here, right? You'll see it sort of peel off there, right? Now, some of you guys might get worried. We've had questions in the past like, oh no, there's a bunch of goop on my housing, right? But literally all you do, because 3M adhesive here, they're pretty good with their adhesive, all you got to do is just rub it off. It literally balls up and comes off like there was nothing there at all. So let me just do that real quick and I'll show you as well how that looks. So there you go, all clean. Literally it just balls up when you rub it off and it leaves no trace. This entire housing here was wrapped in tiger stripe. And again, there's no residue marks, no nothing. So fear not. You can replace these wraps or take them off if you don't like them anytime you want, and it won't mess up your actual housing. So with that covered, let me actually lay out the stickers in and around the NVG-ALPHA housing, just so you kind of get an idea of the balance of where you put the stickers and locations, and then we'll actually stick them on step by step. So here we go, all laid out, all the little components sort of laid out, balance between the areas that they go on the NVG-ALPHA housing. Some of these geometric shapes are pretty regular, right? Rectangles, squares, things like that. They're gonna be pretty much a no-brainer when you look at some of the mold lines in the housing itself. You know, square can only go in a square spot. But when you get into some of the bridge components and some of the oblong shapes for the pods or the pod arms, again, it can be a little bit of guesswork or trial and error to see where they actually fit. So let's start building this. We'll start with all the simple stuff first, and then I'll walk you through where the little components for the bridge and some of the pod arms go. So first and foremost, let's clear some space just so you guys can have clear visual. All right, so let's start with this long strip here. It actually just goes around your eyepiece section of the mold. Really super simple. Just line it up, wrap it all the way around and stick down. So let's just get that done real quick. All right, so that's the eyepiece section done. Let's stick on all these squares. Like I said, it's pretty self-explanatory for the regular shapes. You know, these mold lines here obviously fit a square, and for up front, these little rectangular mold spots, they will obviously fit these rectangular pieces. So let's just go ahead and stick those on as well. Now, quick tip, something to watch on these square pieces here, they're actually slightly rectangles, so there's one side that's longer than the other. Again, just match it up to these little square mold sections on the pods just before you take off the adhesive and slam them down, just to be sure. So there you go. These are all the regular sort of geometric pieces that go on the pods. As you can see, there's some places that are still missing. We're going to touch on that. But again, easy peasy. Just match up the shapes, stick them down. You do have a little bit of give time, so it's not like these are going to adhere and get really stuck for a bit. So if you need to move them, don't worry. Just peel them off very carefully. Again, making sure that adhesive stays down and then reapply, okay? So for the sides of the pods, here and here, that's actually where these little T-junctions come into play. So we'll stick those on. Again, they're oblong in the sense that they're not a balanced shape. There's a weight to one side or the other. So just make sure you're lining them up to the correct side of the pod where they fit. So there you go. There's the base stickers for the pods. There is still one more sticker per pod that you want to attach. And that's actually going to be along these outside edge of where the pod meets the bridge. And what those are going to require is one of the first weird shapes. It's this little sort of rectangle with the arm that kind of sticks off. And actually how this sits is right there in that space. So let's get that taken care of on both sides. All right, there you go. So quick thing to note, that little arm part goes towards the back of the pod arm there. Obviously the little round sections go around the screw ports here. But again, just as long as you mate that little arm towards the back, you'll be good to go. Something to quickly note about the wraps that sit on top of the pod arm. There's only a wrap for the outside portion and not the inside portion. So if you open your package and there's only 2 of these little rectangles with arms, don't worry, that's totally normal. There's only 2 of them to go on the outside portions. All right, so for another really easy one here, we're gonna take care of the wrap that goes on the end of the battery cap here. And that's simply the one that's shaped like the battery cap in my fingers here. So let's get that put on. Here's another piece, a little bit simplistic, but it's got a little round cutout here. It's meant to go around your battery compartment towards the back here. And the round part goes around the attachment point for your battery cap tether. And again, just sits down like this. So let's get that done as well. And there's going to be a follow-on piece. It's essentially the same shape, but it's a little thinner. And that's meant to go on the next ridge around, again, the battery cap retainer sort of round section. And it sits on there just like this. So let's get that done. I find it's a little easier to attach this if you actually take off the battery cap and get it out of the way as well. All right, so the next component we're going to tackle is the front of the bridge here. You'll notice there's couple round shapes we have to take into consideration here. When we match up the shapes, there's another rectangular piece here with a cutout in the middle. And then it also has a round section at the end here. And that's actually just going to sit right underneath your power and manual gain knob, and it's going to stick right there. Now, handling rectangular shapes with a bunch of round cutouts, it's meant to go around your mounting shoe post. And it's going to go on the front here, just like so. We're down to 3 last pieces. Now, here's a fun one. It's sort of a thick rectangular piece with like a little peninsula that sticks out on it. Okay, where's this one gonna go? And where it actually goes is around your power port. This essentially, that little peninsula covers going around the thinner section back here, while the thicker part of that rectangle is for the front section where there's a little bit more real estate there. Again, let's get that stuck on. There we go. Like I said, the thicker part starts where the rounded section meets the face of the bridge, goes around, and then the peninsula sneaks around the back here just to cover the back end real estate of your power port. Here we have our final 2 pieces. I don't know what these look like, maybe half an arrowhead, half an arrow. And what these are for are to actually stick to the top of the bridge. The sticker actually goes around the serial plate here. And then what you'll find is they sit just like that. So let's get those on there as well. And there you have it, those 2 top pieces. Now for reference, I kind of call that like a half arrowhead. The arrow itself points forward, and then obviously the flat side goes on the flat side of the top of the bridge, vice versa on the other side. That's how you know they fit together. And there you have it. We have a fully wrapped in our gear skins NVG-ALPHA housing. When you've got everything put in place where you want it, it's always a good idea with adhesive Cordura wraps like this, just give it some rubs along each piece. That helps to heat up the adhesive, activate it, and let it set. Again, like I said, don't be afraid. If you do then peel these off, you might have some adhesive left. Just rub that adhesive off and you're good to go to replace with new wraps, new color, etc., etc., etc. As I did say, we just got a huge shipment of these in. We've got tons of camo patterns. We literally have all of the multicam patterns right now. So that's regular MC transitional, we've got tropic, we have arid, we have alpine, we have multicam black. In terms of what you see here in front of you, this is M81, God's plaid. We also have coyote brown and ranger green to meet everyone's sort of camo or color preferences. So there you have it, guys. Quick little run through, paint by numbers of our gear skin wraps and how to apply them. It's a lot less destructive or permanent than say Cerakoting. So a lot of guys will really actually preferred putting Cordura wraps on. They get the same job done and it's far less permanent and you've got a little bit more options. So as always, guys, thank you so much for spending some time with me here today. If you do have any additional questions, concerns, comments, blah, 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 throw them in the comments below. I will obviously get back to you as soon as I can, as soon as I see them. And until next time, have an awesome day.